Welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We are here to plug you in to the world of professional wrestling. I'm Krusty and I'm here with my co-hosts Keeney.
Hey guys.
And Fisher.
Hi guys.
So as always, this is going out as a podcast, but extra exciting for us, we're finally reaching into the world of YouTube. So YouTube Recharge have arrived. And if you don't know who the Acclaimed are, you aren't going to have a clue what I've just done.
No. Nice intro. We weren't expecting that, so that was
yeah, lovely.
That was great stuff. But
you.
Yes, you can actually see our faces. If you'd prefer that, then yeah,
maybe you will.
So we've got some exciting stuff this week, as always. We're going to be starting with our newish news segment. We're then going to be going on to SmackDown, Raw, then NXT, and then we're going to be going over to AEW, discussing Rampage, Battle of the Belt special this week, and then Dynamite. So as always, from recently, I think we're going to start with the news. And Fisher, I think you've got something for us.
Yeah, only one real quick news thing this week. It wasn't anything major, no releases or anything crazy like that. But a positive news story regarding Corey Graves. Obviously, been on commentary now in WWE for quite a few years. And after, I think, 7 years away from the ring, has been cleared to wrestle, which is very interesting. I think there's a lot of WWE fans that probably have never seen him wrestle before and just know him as a commentator. I think he does a good job as a commentator, and he has done for a long time. But it'll be interesting to see if he wrestles on the main roster for WWE, because there's definitely an opening for him there. And obviously his girlfriend, Carmella, is on the roster as well. I saw Carmella tweeting, actually, saying, calling out the It couple and the Grit couple, which we'll get to later.
Really?
So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So she was like, I can't remember her exact words, but she was like, they're nothing on us kind of thing. So, already hinting there, maybe it's something, but which I thought was quite interesting. But yeah, so what did you make of the news?
Yeah, I mean, for me, this comes as a big surprise. It's something that never really come into my thinking, that Corey Graves would come back. And I'm one of those fans who are talking about, I've never really seen him wrestle. I think I've seen a clip of him with Seth in the ring doing like some headlocks and stuff, but I've never seen him properly wrestle. So this is completely fresh to me. I think it's interesting because, unlike when Daniel Bryan was cleared to compete or when Edge was cleared to compete, you knew they were coming into the top. Interesting where they use Corey Graves and how they integrate him into their like wrestling ecosystem, because he hasn't really been involved with any wrestlers. Like, there's been storylines in the past where he's had a bit of beef with people, but I just don't know where he's going to fit in, and I'm interested to see. I don't know how good he is. I don't know whether he's good enough to go to the main event scene or whether he'll just be a mid-carder, but that seems a bit random.
I think, I'm in a similar boat as you guys. I don't really know how good he is in ring. I think what he's got behind him is he's a house name. Everybody knows who he is. I know when we've been to house shows, when he comes out, he gets a cheer just because people knows who he is. He's not coming from sort of 20 years ago and no one's seen him. So I think that they're more likely to use him, in my opinion, if I was to make a prediction. I think they're going to use him to come in, maybe do like a feud like with the Miz and Maurice or something like that, maybe. Something not continuous, but like on and off matches. Maybe even keep him on commentary, but bring him off now and again, sort of like they used to do with Jerry the King.
And Samoa Joe as well.
Even Samoa Joe, yeah. So I think
interesting, because there isn't an obvious sort of... He's been so crucial to commentary that there isn't an obvious... I mean, I wouldn't mind if they put Pat McAfee on both shows or something, but there isn't an obvious like commentary gap. So it'd be interesting to see if they did replace him on commentary, because he's done such a good job there.
Yeah, you're right, really. I'm trying to think. I mean, you could just have a two-man booth on Raw. You could just have Jimmy Smith and Byron Saxton. That being said, they're not the best duo in the world. I think Saxton and Corey Graves work well with each other. So, yeah, but I mean, WWE, they'll probably bring in someone from outside. Or maybe once Beth Phoenix is done with this feud, she'll go back to commentary. There's
a lot of a good dynamic. I like that. That's a good shout.
Or maybe they'll just hire Samoa Joe for the third time.
I'd love that as well.
One thing I can see Corey doing, because I don't think he's going to come straight onto the roster. Like, I don't think he's going to go suddenly, oh, I'm on the roster, cleared now, I'm going to wrestle. But one thing I can see him doing in recent weeks coming is maybe getting up from his commentary desk at the Rumble and entering.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
that would be very cool.
Because we've had that before, but there's normally stupid stuff like Michael Cole getting in, whereas he would be a serious entry, you know?
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'd be up for seeing that. Again, can you imagine if they didn't release this news and that was a surprise? All of a sudden in the Rumble, you just see Corey Graves. You're like, what the hell is going on here? That would have been like insane.
That'd be a great surprise.
Yeah, that would have like blown everyone's mind if that had happened. But I guess
the thing is, this news always comes out. I mean, nowadays you just can't. You can't have someone.
I mean, even when Brian got cleared, you know, they announced it on Twitter, and then he did a promo on SmackDown to talk to the crowd. They couldn't just announce it on SmackDown with no like announcement on Twitter before, which was a shame. Like, because that would have been awesome if you were watching it like live and just didn't expect it. They do it so often now, and they've done it with others as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's not as big a deal, but it's still a good news.
Good news.
Straight into SmackDown.
Yeah. I think so, and I think it's been a decent week of wrestling. But I guess it's probably worth kicking off with. We have to kick off with Lesnar and Reigns coming face to face on SmackDown, and Heyman kind of playing an interesting part here. I was very intrigued to see how he would be here, and he was still quite subservient to Reigns.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was, and also Reigns was showing a little bit of sort of, might be the wrong word, but a little bit of affection towards Paul in the way he was like, don't talk to him like that.
Yeah.
I know it could be like stirring the pot, but it almost was like, that's my property. And Heyman was almost playing into that because he said it back, didn't he? He was saying to Brock, don't talk to him like that, which is really keeping this story going, which I think is just amazing. I'm really into it because I thought when Heyman came out with Brock, I was like, oh, I'm a little bit disappointed here. Is Brock going to talk? But then he did those really sort of funny impressions that I'm loving him doing. We're all a massive fan.
Oh, Brock on the mic. We've been missing this for years. I didn't realize how good he was. Absolutely amazing. I love every time he speaks. He's just added a whole new dynamic to him, and like realistically, him and Reigns, neither of them really need Lesnar. That's kind of the weird scenario in all.
You mean Heyman?
Heyman, yeah, thank you. They don't really need Heyman, do they? In this scenario, no. So it's interesting, but I still stand by my prediction that Heyman is going to cost Lesnar at Royal Rumble. Yeah,
that could well happen, but yeah, I really enjoyed the bit where Brock just sort of goes, Roman, acknowledge me, and like just so casually, like. Yeah, it's really, really good. It's quite a short segment, actually. They didn't overdo it. Sometimes with these, I thought, oh, they might overstay the welcome, drag it out. But it was only 5 minutes at the start of the show, which was actually, I thought, quite good. Didn't like overdo it this week, with still obviously time to go until sort of the Rumble and Mania and whatever, however many times they're going to interact between now and then. You know, you don't want to overdo it. So I thought it worked quite well, this segment. It's a nice way to open the show.
Definitely.
And we'll get to Lesnar more later when we get to Raw, but it was a great way on Raw as well, I thought.
Yeah, no, it was. And I guess we passed to Krusty for the close of the show of SmackDown, where we found out the number one contender.
This is my top mark. So I've predicted a few of these things coming across, but I never actually thought it was going to happen. So we have Roman sat in his office, and he had Adam Pearce in his office a little bit earlier on in the evening, and he sort of shunned him like, well, I've beaten everyone. I've smashed him, I think he said, which I love. I love smashing everyone.
Yeah.
He said, I've smashed everyone. Who are you going to bring in? And then we get that very clever knock at the door.
This is genius, music. The way they did it.
Yeah, so clever.
Clever.
It kind of went over my head when I
noticed it straight away. I heard the music and I was like, wait, is it set? Because I was racking my brain thinking, well, he has beaten everyone on SmackDown. Like, who can it possibly be? And I was like, the only babyface they've got that hasn't been on the show yet, that's like not in a feud. They've already done Cesaro, can't be him. I was like, it's not going to be Ricochet, surely, or someone like that. Like, just throwing him in like to this big match. But yeah, I was
hoping it wasn't going to be anticlimactic, but man, did it hit the spot when who comes through the door but Seth freaking Rollins. I nearly fell out my seat. It was insane. I have been wanting this for ages. How long have I been banging on about Roman versus Seth? I've been enjoying everything he's been doing.
It's been mentioned a lot on this show, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And we had a few kind of teasers of this a few months back, and then it kind of went.
I'm glad they're doing the match, even though it's brand v brand and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some reservations here. So I love this, and I can't wait to see them wrestle. But I wanted to see them in a proper storyline, and hopefully we get that in the next 3 weeks. But it's not a lot of time.
I think this could cause something for the future. I think this is almost going to be like a taster. And it's going to put a sour taste and a rift because they were almost still on side with each other, weren't they? And I'm pretty certain they almost I think they called each other brothers, even on this segment.
They did.
I know Seth said it on Raw.
Seth said it on Raw, yeah.
Okay, that's where I got it from. So
I
think this is going to cause that to be done, and it is going to cause a big feud, possibly for when we have the new brands split. When they do that, I think this is going to build up to a larger feud down the line.
Hopefully, I mean, the only reason I had trepidation was because I always thought this Rumble match and I actually said last week I don't think Reigns needs a match at Rumble. I didn't think it was needed because there's no one credible on SmackDown to face him. And I always thought, well, if he has a match, it will just be a stopgap on the way to Mania. I thought, well, it's just going to be, and I hope this isn't that, and I'm sure it won't be because it's Seth. But can you imagine if this is just a 3-week build? He beats him at Rumble, and then that's it. That's the end of this.
It probably will be. I don't mind it being that.
I would be a bit disappointed with that because of the potential in this storyline. You could have a 6-month story with Seth and Roman because they've got so much history.
Like Crossy says, you can come back to it later down the line. You don't have to necessarily do match.
I know, but.
That's what AEW does so well. Hangman and Page and Kenny Omega had 3 matches, but they're over the course of 2 years.
Yeah,
because the story you come back to it, and even Brock and Roman, like, all right, they had them quite close together, but they've had Brock Roman, then Roman will go off with someone else, come back to Brock, and they may well face at Mania. Wouldn't surprise me.
I have a bit of a far-fetched opinion here, a bit of a prediction that Seth beats Roman. Roman goes. Roman stays where he is. Seth takes the belt to Raw, and then Lesnar beats Lashley,
and then
Roman faces Reigns at Mania.
Roman faces
Lesnar on SmackDown.
It's not too far fetched, and I can either see that happening or maybe Brock
and then you
losing.
have Big E versus Seth.
My prediction is Lesnar to lose to Lashley and Roman to beat Seth. The opposite.
Yeah,
I predict the opposite to you.
Either one could happen, or neither.
I'm not saying that's my prediction.
It honestly
We're
is.
not having it now.
Yeah, it's a bit early for predictions.
Yeah, it is. But either could happen. It's genuinely interesting.
Do you want to know who I thought it was going to be? I thought this would have been a great way to introduce Ciampa to the main roster, because I know he's been on dark matches, and I thought, well, he's beaten everyone on SmackDown, so why not have someone new on SmackDown? And I think Ciampa would have been the perfect guy. He's a baby face. I think he'd have got a decent pop because I think everyone knows who he is. And I think you could have had a 3-week build. Ciampa put up a good fight, but Reigns beats him and moves on.
Everyone knows who he is to a certain degree, but he's not going to draw in the sort of casual fans.
Do you need that at Rumble with the Rumble matches with Lesnar Lashley? I think you could afford a Reigns match to not be as big personally.
Once upon a time, that was what I thought. But with the pressure from AEW, I just think they want to go all out.
Yeah, they're just throwing all their matches.
Insane. Lesnar, Lashley, Roman, Seth, 2 Royal Rumble matches, and all right, Becky Doudrop's not massive, but that's another a fresh match.
Yeah, I like that match. Yeah.
And you got the Miz and Edge mixed tag.
Oh yeah, of course, and you got Miz and Edge.
That is a big card.
Yeah,
on paper.
It's a massive card, really. It's half the size, but it could be a WrestleMania card. Most of those.
Well, put it this way: those 2 men's title matches. If they said these are the Mania title matches, like fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll have these at Mania, no problem. So
I love that.
It's interesting to see what they do heading into Mania because you've still got Big E knocking about. You've got Drew's going to return at some point. There's some big guys. What happens to Edge after this feud? AJ Styles is on his own now. There's a lot of top guys. They seem to all be on Raw, unfortunately, apart from
That's
Drew
what I'm
and
thinking.
Roman.
This could mix it up slightly.
Yeah, I think the one reason I think Seth winning would be a good idea is so it'd bring someone else over to SmackDown. I think that would be cool to get Seth back on SmackDown. But then would they break up Seth and Becky because they seem to like pair?
I think they'd do what Krusty said and they'd put Seth on Raw because the titles don't have to stay on the same show.
And move Brock over.
Brock's on both shows anyway.
Yeah,
so you can just stay on SmackDown. You move, and Steph can stay on Raw. You don't Steph.
Because I think the biggest names you could have at the moment is Brock versus Reigns, which was going to happen. So you have some disappointment.
I still think that's the Mania match, and I don't think it was because I think also they were meant to fight at day one. I thought that might have been. I don't know how they would have dragged out.
I honestly have no idea what the plan was or what it is. Like sometimes you can tell because you can tell to build someone's on this path, but. Yeah, I honestly have no idea.
But what's good is there are so many top guys and so many possibilities, and all the possibilities are great. There's not like, if we got AJ v Lashley's title match, is like that'd still be amazing. I still love that, and that's probably like the least exciting match we could probably get. So I think there's a lot to look forward to.
Definitely. No complaints from me. It's great stuff.
I think the main event scene in WWE as a whole is strong as all hell right now.
It's just the depth to the roster that's not particularly. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's a good segue there, Fish, because we got a Charlotte promo where she was basically saying there's no contenders. She's beat everyone, no contenders for her, and she's entering the Rumble to win it and then pick her own opponent at Mania, which I don't think's been done before. Not picking your own opponent. I know we've had a title match as the Rumble match. Champion's gone in.
Brock not in it once as a champion.
Was that the year Drew knocked him out?
No, it wasn't then. No, it was then. It was then. Drew beat Brock. Yeah, it was.
So was he just going to pick
He went in number
opponent?
one. He was like, I'm going to come in number one, beat everybody, and then choose my opponent. But Drew obviously knocked him out, and then that led to Drew v Brock.
Yeah. So I think this is interesting. And I wonder if this would have happened if we didn't get the Sasha injury. Maybe that was their Rumble plans, Sasha. But then that's probably their Mania plans, Sasha and Charlotte.
Yeah.
The women's side is a lot less stacked. But we also got a match on SmackDown here with Naomi, who come out, and I thought this is a cool. Maybe Naomi puts up a good fight, but actually this could be a skid mark for me. I
thought the match was good.
No. So the match was good, but the ending of it, where Sonya says, "Oh no, now it's DQ, now it's whatever extra rule she added in," and this Sonya Naomi feud is just.
I didn't mind that too much because I thought they're just sort of carrying it on to finish it.
But how far though? We've had like 2 announced Sonya Naomi matches, and I know they've not properly happened yet, but. At this point, if it does happen, I'm kind of past caring with these two because it's just gone on too long. And Sonya v Naomi is not a big enough match to be building up for 6 months for.
No,
really.
No, I know what you're saying.
So this is my skid mark. I'm announcing it now. It's the live skid mark. The end of this match, the Sonya Naomi feud. I'd rather Naomi just got into a title match with Charlotte and had a good feud with Charlotte for the title. I'd rather that. And that's what I thought we might be going when she came out, but. It seemed to be a one and done, and it was more for the Sonya story than it was for the title, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was more for that. But I did think at least this like a lot of these matches, when they've announced Naomi matches, they've not been getting any time. Like the Shayna Baszler matches, barely gone a minute, some of them, 2 minutes. This was like 10 at least minutes of good rest. I thought the match was pretty good. So I'll praise it from that point of view.
Yeah, it was good.
And they actually gave it some time, maybe because they didn't have any other women and plans at the moment, and it was just, you two go and have a good match will further the storyline, and they haven't got anybody lined up for Charlotte after Toni Storm left. So, that was obviously the plan here. I understand what you mean about the feud because it's kind of. I liked it at first. I think we've spoken about it every week. Like at first we liked it, and each week I think gradually we've got more and more fed up with it.
Well, again, it's one of those where I think you fantasy book in your head. So I think we all said, this is going to end up in Naomi joining the bloodline and they're going to override Sonya. And it's just gone so far past that. And that was the only outcome I would have loved. And now it's just the only outcome they can have is a one-on-one match between Sonya and Naomi. And that is not a good enough match.
Maybe they're going to do it at Mania as like a an undercard match, but they've got to drag it out a long time still, which I hope I'd rather they got it over.
It's gone on too long.
But I think they'll have a spot at the Rumble though. There will be a spot at the Rumble.
Yeah, sure.
Naomi always does those escape spots,
aren't they? Yeah.
Naomi has those escape spots, doesn't she? Right?
Yeah.
So she's going to escape, and then Sonya's going to knock her over or something.
Yeah. Well, and another thing with this feud just come to my head is we've had Aaliyah involved for a week, never seen her again. We've had Xia Li involved for a week, never seen her again. So they're throwing people in here. You know, Shane and Natalya was involved for a bit. They've kind of thrown every woman on SmackDown into this feud for the odd week.
Shame that Xia Li hasn't been used.
Weird she wasn't announced for the Rumble.
I think there was a Natalya. Her and Natalya have got a match coming up, haven't they? They've kind of had promos back and forth.
Yeah, they had promos, but then nothing. And then weirdly, she's one of the only people. I think she's the only woman on SmackDown not announced for the Rumble. So she'll probably still be in it, but weird.
It was a strange.
But that kind of segues onto the point of the rest of the promo, which was to announce a lot of the competitors for the Women's Royal Rumble. So I think we've got 19 in total, which I know, Krusty, you have strong feelings.
This is actually segueing onto my skid mark of the week, which is a
skid
shame
mark to
that
skid mark.
We're skid marking all over the town here.
So
I'm a little bit. It's nothing I feel really negative about that I have in past weeks, and I think this really shows how good wrestling is at the moment. I know Keeney as well. We're really struggling to find skid marks at the moment.
Yeah, well, I didn't have one until 5 minutes ago. Yeah, so
stumbled across it.
Literally just found one.
But my skid mark is the fact that they're announcing so many people so early for the Royal Rumble, which I think's taken a bit of the magic away. I know we usually get one or two big surprises, like the year when Edge came back. I know there was rumours, but that was just so good. I mean, I even think when we're mentioning the women's announcements, they should have kept Lita a secret. I know they want people to draw into a Royal Rumble, but I think it's a pay-per-view that's probably big enough to do it on its own. Yeah. But I'd have loved for Lita to have not been announced and then her music to drop. And we'd have popped. That would have been so good. But they're just
speaking of
announcing
popping,
all these people that come back.
Yeah, could you imagine if they didn't announce Mickie James?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably good for my own safety that they did.
I guess I guess it's probably Impact that pushed them.
Because I would have got too excited.
Because it's more promoting Impact.
Yeah, no, I actually think they had to promote Mickie because it got everyone talking. Mickie, that was trending for like 2 days after. You know, the stuff between Mickie was trending, Impact was trending, everyone was wondering what was going on, so it got everyone talking. And I think they had to do that, really, to promote, like you say, to promote Impact Championship. I was shocked when Pat McAfee said the Impact Knockouts champion. I thought they were just going to say Mickie James. Remember her?
Yeah, former legend. Yeah.
She's just a WWE superstar. Like, that's it. Like, forgot she was ever released. None of that. But no, they were like, no, she's the Impact champion. And then, you know, massive segue into a show we don't even cover, but she retains the title. So, you know, because she had the title match the next night. And I thought maybe she'll lose the title so that they don't have to say, then she doesn't have to bring the belt out or anything. But it looks like the plan at the moment is for her to come out as the Impact Women's Knockouts champion, which is really cool and big.
I know we don't like to go on to too much of the sort of rivalry and feud and things, but do you think now that AEW and Impact sort of relationship has fizzled, they're just sort of doing this on purpose to sort of stick it and saying, well, we can do that too?
I'm probably a bit more... I don't think this is a... it kind of is opening the forbidden door, but I don't think this is an Impact WWE partnership. Possibly.
She's not a Hall of Famer.
She's not. No,
I think this opens the door for her to come into it.
Yeah.
This year. It wouldn't surprise me if she was the woman this year.
For me, the reason they've done this is because they have no women. And they've just like messaged everyone they've released in the past couple of years saying, please, can you
They're even bringing Summer Rae's in it. You know, she's not like really someone that you'd go, oh, Summer Rae, like she needs to come back.
I think this is part of the problem of the releases, really. At one point, if they hadn't have announced the Rumble, I mean, even if we're looking at the men's, you'd have thought, wow, their roster's probably like 70, 80 men deep at some time, like back in the past. And you think, who are they going to pick? But now it's like you could literally just fill every slot with a person and you know exactly who's coming in. Which I just think is a shame. So my skid mark of the week is the fact that they're just announcing all the names, including the surprises, which yes builds up some excitement, but also takes away that magic of
it's the amount. I think you've got like there's no point. I don't have any problem with like Rey Mysterio declaring himself in the men's rumble because he's on the roster and it's quite obvious that he's going to be in the rumble, and AJ Styles, whoever. But surprises don't need to be announced. Especially maybe you can do the Mickey one as a big like, wow, look at what we're doing.
Yeah,
you don't need to do Lita, Summer Rae, the Bella Twins,
Kelly,
Michelle McCool.
Yeah, you don't need to do all of that. I think they went a bit too far with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, if you look back over the years, you have a few people who announce and they give reasons why they're in the Rumble and they want to win and they want to win a belt and all this stuff. So, you have Big E announce and he kind of did that promo. But even the woman they just announced Shotzi. Okay, but, can we hear from Shotzi? Can we hear her announce herself or something like just...
Even small
they have such an example. They have such an opportunity here to not only take up TV time, which they could really do with at the moment, but to put some character behind these wrestlers. But we'll just throw Shotzi in there because only woman we've got basically is what they're telling us. And so I just think I'm all for some announcements and even some, I'm not against Johnny Knoxville announcing.
No, I was going to say
that's different. That's got a big money.
That's a celebrity involvement. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
And he's been there in the build up to it as well. He's not just coming out on the night. So they've built a storyline on that. So that's fine.
I mean, that'd be a surprise if they didn't tell us and he came out, but it'd be a bit random.
Yeah, I just want to say quickly, I'm so happy that Mickey is going to be in the match. Obviously, I've spoken about her a lot in this podcast, and we've not really had an opportunity to actually because we don't really cover Impact or NWA.
I will laugh if she comes in and literally goes straight out.
I mean, I can't see that.
I reckon they have to give her some time.
Oh, she has to be.
I think they would have done anyway, regardless of her not being Impact. But the fact that she's the Impact champion, I think they have to. Because otherwise people are going to go nuts about it.
Impact would go mental if she just went out straight away.
There is talk of maybe a men's entrant from Impact as well, by the way. There is rumours of it.
I'm not buying it.
Maybe they might have done it though, but we'll let you have Mickey James back, but we want to promote our show, so you can have Moose or somebody,
Give me Moose.
Because he's the Impact Men's champion, right? Yeah. Just shove him in there. It could be anybody. It might not happen. The thing is, like you say, the men's, they don't need the spots. The women, they did.
No.
So they might not, but it would be cool if we get a surprise like that. That would be awesome.
More for it.
And even better if they did it to like an AEW. Imagine that. It won't happen. If Chris Jericho comes out or someone that's obviously
I've seen stuff about
a WWE background.
What'd you do if Punk came back? Well, he's not going to.
Obviously, he's not going to.
He's not going to, is he? Or Jericho or MJF. Well, they're not going to appear in the Rumble, are they?
But they're not going to. WWE and AEW aren't going to do business.
I mean, if MJF comes out, I am going to go mental. I'm going to explode.
I don't know what's going to happen with me.
What a thing.
I'll do the Wardlow power bombs to Fisher. if MJF comes out, I will Wardlow power bomb Fisher.
Do I have a say in this?
No.
And we're doing it on film as well.
Yeah, there's some YouTube content.
Great.
But
so let's segue out. So there was a little bit of a segue in there. To the Johnny Knoxville thing. And Johnny Knoxville obviously was on this show. And not to be even more negative, but it leads on to my skid mark as well.
We're on a triple skid mark.
Let's get the skid marks out of the way. All three of them coming from SmackDown this week. One top mark did. One
top mark, 3 skid marks.
I thought the worst thing in wrestling this whole week not the Johnny Knoxville bit afterwards. I actually thought that it was okay, but the Sami Zayn Rick Boogs match on SmackDown. I hate it when number one contenders lose matches in the build up to, which is we'll get to later. But Seth Rollins won a huge match on Raw to build him for Roman Reigns. Sami Zayn, the Intercontinental title hasn't been defended in so long. You need to build an excitement to that match. Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Okay, he didn't wrestle the champion. He wrestled the champion's understudy essentially, and lost by roll up. And Boogs dominated most of the match as well. It wasn't like Zayn dominated a whole match, got distracted and had a roll up. It was like, oh, okay, Boogs is. My notes were basically, Boogs is showing some power here. He's doing quite well. I thought Zayn was just going to turn the match around, Helluva Kick, and pin him. But no. And I just thought it was a terrible way to build to the Nakamura-Zayn match. Couldn't have made it any worse. And then after that, you got the angle with... So Sami Zayn had said that Johnny Knoxville had done nothing to qualify for the Royal Rumble match, which is probably fair enough. But after the match, Zayn is arguing by the apron and Johnny Knoxville comes out and chucks him over the rope. And then they said Johnny Knoxville has now qualified. And I actually thought that bit made sense because the most makes sense to qualify for the Royal Rumble is by chucking someone over the top rope. So I actually didn't mind that. And obviously it builds heat for sort of... There's going to be a spot in the Rumble with Johnny Knoxville and probably, I guess, Sami Zayn again, and potentially some other people that he winds up. But yeah, I hated the match, the finish to that match. Really did not like it at all. So that's my skid mark this week.
Yep, it was absolute shit. It was.
That's all you got to say about it.
It was shit, yeah. I mean, the problem we have, Fish, is they don't care about the Intercontinental title anymore at all.
No.
So the reason why Seth got a clean win is because they care about his feud. They don't care about Sami Zayn v Nakamura. Unfortunately, I think it's a good opportunity for Sami to win the title and make it relevant again like he did before with the Intercontinental.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a great champ.
I like Shinsuke, but this
he hasn't wrestled.
This title reign has been an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I mentioned the other day, it hasn't been on a pay-per-view since WrestleMania last year. We're nearly a year without it being on a pay-per-view. It's mad. It's the second belt. It's a mid-card belt.
But it's not, and it's been held by someone
the US belt.
Yeah, and it's it's not held by someone who's never on TV. He's on TV every week. Yeah. It's just not been defended.
They see more value in using Boogs playing the guitar, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I get that they're trying to get Boogs over.
Quite a good wrestler, but
yeah, Boogs is fine.
He's fine, but he shouldn't be beating the number one contender for the title.
Or they shouldn't have the belt on Shinsuke. They could have Shinsuke and Boogs doing their thing, but just not with the belt.
Yeah,
so, absolutely.
Good skid.
But yeah, just a poor finish to the match. And normally I'm not as fussed on but it's not the roll-up necessarily. Because I know Krusty's the roll-up angry man when it comes to that.
I'm steering clear of skipping
I know.
roll-ups.
But
I could do one every week. But
it's more the result than the roll-up itself. But the roll-up kind of added to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's...
Perfect.
Should we move on to something positive from SmackDown? Because I know we started
I don't think there's too much to say on it. Because it was another match between Usos and New Day. We know it was going to be phenomenal. But that ending, they have adopted that 3D, haven't they?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Through a table as well.
Called one,
what more could you want?
Yeah, 1D they got
Jimmy, get the table!
We the ones.
Yeah, called the 1D. I like it. It
makes
the 1D, complete sense.
So
it makes total sense because they called themselves the Ones and Day One and all that stuff they say. I rolled my eyes when I saw that this match was happening again.
I cannot believe it.
But
let's not skip it too much. Let's not skip it too much.
No, but the actual match itself, the street fight, it was a lot of fun. It was really enjoyable.
It was good.
So I'm not going to complain.
They are always good. These four guys. The problem is it'll probably be announced for tomorrow's show as well.
We just need more. We need more tag teams.
There is no other real tag teams other than
the Viking Raiders,
Corbin and Moss, who beat the Viking Raiders.
Viking Raiders.
Yeah, but they lost Corbin and Moss.
Yeah,
Corbin and
Moss lost
the
the Farios, but they've been around for a bit.
Could have Corbin and Moss.
I'd like to see them do more with them.
Yeah,
because they were winning loads at one point.
Yeah, I like them. Yeah, tag divisions again. It's another belt they don't care about, unfortunately. So it's hard to invest too much into any tag team. Because,
was there anything else?
No, but
briefly mentioned the Viking Raiders match, but there wasn't a lot to that. I did think Moss looked really good in this again. By the way, we praised his match against Drew, and he said he looked good.
Yeah, I think he's a really good wrestler.
Didn't go that long, but actually, I'm like, maybe they should split these guys up or do not necessarily if they keep them together, maybe make them more serious because they're both good. And Riddick Moss is actually impressing me in the ring. But it's just the character and the jokes I can't be dealing with. Like that's what's putting me off. But when they wrestle, I'm liking it, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Moss is good. Shall we move on to Raw?
I think we could probably segue since we're talking about tag teams.
Yeah, I think there's a good Raw segue there, Krusty.
So Alpha Academy faced RK Bro, and actual shock for
This
once.
did knock my socks off. I was not expecting this.
Knocks your socks off.
It did. I was not expecting them to win.
Was it from out of
belts.
nowhere?
It was, and it wasn't just a result. It was the clean pin on Randy Orton.
It was the nature of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Otis is pinning Randy Orton clean in the middle of the ring.
The result of it didn't surprise me as much as you might think, because I did say last week the Alpha Academy would be the perfect choice to take titles off.
I love them, by the way, Alpha Academy. I think they're great.
And obviously, I think we all thought it was coming before Mania, because they're probably going to do the match. Yeah. I thought maybe they'd do another match at the Rumble and then...
Well, and also, sometimes with these title changes, you can kind of preempt them because it'll go on last or it will appear in a certain part of the show. This was just like second match on or something. It was really random. Like, there was no like...
I think it was first.
Yeah, it might be first, but it was after like a segment at the start. So it wasn't like... Yeah, it just wasn't... It just, usually that spot is just for a random match just to build the show up. It's not like a title change slot. So it was kind of a bit different, but I love it. I mean, keep shocking me, WWE. I love it. And I'm all for Alpha Academy.
I think they've been
a great tag.
I know they haven't been built that much as a tag. They've been wrestling more individually, but
real good dynamic.
I really like the Alpha Academy. I like both guys. I think Otis in this role is so much better, actually.
Yeah.
It's
he's
weird.
an absolute beast, isn't he? Absolute powerhouse.
And Gable's just so good.
He's such a good wrestler.
He's just so good.
He is one of the best.
Always should have been Kurt Angle's illegitimate son. He is just basically a miniature Kurt Angle, isn't he?
Well, I wonder. Again, this is a bit of a sidetrack, but I wonder if Jason Jordan never got injured, how big the Alpha Academy would have got, because they were one of the best tag teams going. I wonder if they'd be on like the Usos and New Day level right now if they'd have.
But the thing is, they weren't together, were they, when he broke up? Jason Jordan tagged with Seth Rollins for a bit.
Yeah, but wasn't he injured for a bit and then he came back and was his son?
I
don't remember there ever being a breakup with the Alpha Academy. I might be wrong. I know they didn't tag the whole time, but I don't remember there being like one of them turning heel one.
There wasn't an angle, but they just split them and
that's a shame, because I think they were really, really good.
So I don't think they would have still been together as a tag team, to be honest. They should have been, because they were great, but I don't think they would be.
Yeah, well, it's fine because we got Gable and Otis, who
and I think we know where this is going, don't we? We've said this for a long time,
and I think we need Riddle to turn heel. That's what I think we need.
Because Orton lost the match, right?
Yeah, Riddle. Yeah. I want Riddle to get angry on Raw,
because Orton's been getting more and more frustrated with Riddle every week because he's not listening to him, and that's why they've been losing. Riddle listened to him this week, tagged him in, and then Orton got pinned, and it's perfect, really.
I hope they're going to drag this out. Drag it out to the Rumble, and then Riddle throws out Orton. Hits him with an RKO or something like that.
RKO and chucks him over the top.
And then build it for Mania.
Riddle Orton Mania. That'd be a great match.
It's definitely a Mania feud. So, WWE, come on.
I think they will.
For us. We've been pretty good at being right lately, haven't we?
I trust them with this one. I do. Yeah. I think they've built it perfectly, like you say, Fisher. I think everything's worked so far. So I trust them with this one.
And I think when Randy Orton's invested in something, they've always invested in Randy Orton's storylines, right? They always put everything. And when Randy Orton cares, Randy Orton's great. So, and he seems to have really enjoyed this run. So I think, hopefully, I mean, the thing is, last year, I think Orton would have been so annoyed with his build-up to Mania, with the stuff with The Fiend. It was so bad that he'll want a good build-up and match at Mania, because the match was bad as well.
But the match will be good with Riddle, you know that.
We're going to get... I think he's had a good few months with Riddle, and now you can... I think they've built him for the perfect amount of time. They didn't overstay their welcome. I felt like AJ and Omos, you went a little bit too long. And then
and the tag team was too lopsided as well. I've said that before.
Yeah, whereas here I think they've got it right. They may probably struck it about right. They could have done it at the Rumble, but other than that, I think perfect.
Maybe a bit of a segue there.
Yeah, I can segue into another tag team malfunction we had on this show, where we had, again, a shock in turn. Another shock. I liked it. Another one that knocked my socks off. But we had Nikki Ash turning on Rhea Ripley.
Oh, yes.
Did you see this coming? Because I did not. I thought Rhea was was she seemed to be getting like containing her anger, Rhea Ripley, and I was like, oh, she's going to slap in a minute, Rhea. She's just going to destroy Nikki. But wow, I wasn't expecting Nikki Ash to turn on Rhea. But I loved it because these two as a team have not worked. I mean, Krusty, you've not been a fan of this.
I've not been a fan at all, and it's made me dislike Nikki Ash because she's holding back Rhea Ripley, in my opinion. Yeah. But this, I'm actually really happy about because I think we're going to get the best side of Nikki.
Yeah.
Almost like a sort of inkling as to when she was in NXT.
Sanity.
Yeah. Maybe not even that, but just to heel Nikki is far better than... I understand why they do these gimmicks sometimes, but do not put one of the best female wrestlers in the roster to just run around after her. That was just... So hopefully we have this good feud now. And we see the best from both wrestlers because we know they can wrestle. It's just the gimmick I didn't like. So yeah, really happy, really surprised because I think I was sort of talking to you guys whilst and I was like, "Go on, Rhea, knock her head off." And then next minute, Nikki laid into her. Yeah, real good. This Raw was spot on for sort of surprises.
Yeah, really
good.
Yeah, really liked this one.
Yeah, it was a good show, wasn't it? And yeah, I think it was perfect turning Nikki because I think she needed to turn more. Rhea doesn't need a character change. She just needs maybe a slight attitude change in terms of like she's a bit too nice. But Nikki needed that character change, I think, after the dud of a title run. It was a nice moment for her to win that title, but then she lost it quite quickly, went into this team. They had the title run, but the tag title runs mean nothing. The women's ones, absolutely nothing at all. And like you say, I think especially towards the end, been holding Rhea back a little bit, and probably bringing both of them down rather than lifting both of them up, I would say. And I'm glad that this turn's happening. I think it's going to be an interesting feud. I'm intrigued to see how Nikki comes out next week. Does she keep the superhero thing, but be bad with it, or does she just completely drop that and go back to old Nikki Cross?
Yeah, I actually predict she's going to do like this whole thing of she thinks she's a superhero, but she's actually a villain. Yeah. I think she's going to play on that. So I think she's going to keep this superhero gimmick for a while. But I mean, it's different, and it's a different side of Nikki Ash that we've not seen on the main roster yet.
Yeah, I thought this segment was really well done. I thought both of them acted it pretty well because when they hugged, I thought, oh no, because you can hear the boos. Actually, there was a few boos like, oh no, don't end it like this. And then Nikki attacks Rhea, so I think they suckered the crowd in nicely here.
They suckered me in. I was well and truly suckered in.
Yeah, because I don't think that people were expecting the Nikki turn. If any of them were probably expecting Rhea, but yeah.
Well, were you expecting Doudrop to be number one contender for the women's title?
I was wondering, but this Raw is so stacked. I'm just having a quick...
Yeah, we haven't even got to the main event of the men's yet.
It's insane. It's absolutely stacked. And I was like, what is he going to say here? Because there's a number of things we still need to discuss.
Yeah. But Doudrop, number one contender. I mean...
I think it's great for her. But...
Yeah. Yeah, what a rise for Doudrop.
Bianca's Mania, isn't she? They're going to build that for Mania, surely.
Yeah, and I guess Liv, they've done that enough.
They've just done it. So Doudrop. And I love the last sort of image of Becky not being able to lift her. She was really struggling.
Yes, she looked worried, didn't she?
Yeah, seeing her as an absolute powerhouse, and it's a good element, isn't it? It's Becky hasn't really faced anyone that she cannot react to, and we know Doudrop can wrestle. And it's like two heels going off against each other again. It's something fresh. It's something new.
Yeah, I wondered if this was a way to get Becky Lynch face for Mania. I wondered if they put her against Doudrop.
It depends
who's pretty
faces,
heel.
Though.
I mean,
if she's facing Belair, Belair's.
I think she's
a returning Bailey or something.
I don't want to turn Becky face at the moment. I think
nor do I. Nor do I. It's just something I thought.
And I think after holding the title for this long, you're naturally going to boo her because you want the title change coming at Mania.
Yeah.
Whoever it is, I think it probably will be Bianca, but it could be a return in any one of several returns.
And this is the exciting thing. There is so many choices.
But I thought it was a good main event match on Raw. Glad it main evented, made it feel important. which is nice. I like to see
Brilliant.
that with like main, for number one contenders matches for main titles.
And I'll say again, Liv Morgan continues to impress me. She was very good here. She's been very good for about a month now, Liv Morgan. She has stepped her game up to that next level.
There was an amazing Hurricane Rana from the corner.
She jumped on Doudrop's back, didn't she?
Yeah, that bit was really cool. And there was also a great. Doudrop was pinning Liv, and Belair did a 450 to break up the pin. That was great as well. There's some really good spots in this match. Really good, impressive.
And Doudrop as well, doing like double crossbody and things like that.
She's very athletic.
So
but,
yeah, Doudrop.
She's a bigger woman, but she can move.
Yeah.
So much so that you didn't know who was going to win, and that is what I love. It was also in the air who's going to win,
and obviously the finish. Belair had Liv beat.
Yes,
Becky drags her off. Then Liv hit.
That's what I'm thinking.
Belair
has got to face Becky.
You've got to do Becky and Belair because otherwise, why do that?
And they are building Belair all the time to be this absolute beast and cannot lose without something happening.
They've been telling the story really since, I know maybe they didn't plan this, but since Becky squashed Belair at SummerSlam on her return, they may well, I might be giving them too much credit here, but they may well have thought.
I think he might be, yeah.
They may well have thought, but Belair can get her revenge at Mania next year. They might have had that in mind. They might have had that in mind. They probably didn't, but they might have.
You're being very
Just going back to how good Becky is as a heel, just when she was on commentary, well, a couple of things. Her outfit, for a start, she had a goat jacket on, which had mini goat shoulder pads.
Amazing.
And I was like, what are they? And I was like, they're goats. And I just thought, that's so cool. She's just that arrogant. And then she was on commentary, and they were just chatting. And I think she said something like, everyone's had a taste. She said, everyone's had a taste. I'm not a buffet. That is an amazing line.
She calls herself Vincent Van Gogh as well now.
Oh, it's amazing. She's so good. It's almost like trying to think who. I guess Seth does it, doesn't he? He kind of just gives himself new names all the time. It's so good.
Definitely learn off of Seth, I believe. She's really taken, and it is working so well. And the fact that they don't hide that they're together as well, I think really improves this. That they are like this really big, we are it sort of couple. I don't want to say the it couple because obviously that's Miz and Reese, but that's what it feels like. They're the big time couple, aren't they? They are.
That could be a bit of a segue if we're done with that segue.
Yeah, go on.
To the it couple and the grit couple.
Yep.
Oh, I thought we were going to segue on to Seth. There's so much, isn't there?
Oh, we can segue on to Seth in a minute. I was talking about the man on my t-shirt.
Let's start with
rated R superstar. They did get a bit rated R here. Beth and Edge in the ring. Beth was a bit.
Oh yeah, Beth. I don't know. She was definitely had a mind somewhere else. Some of this segment.
It was quite funny. What she was coming out with.
I love Beth though, by the way. I think she looks and talks so well, and I know she can wrestle as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
I think she's really, really.
The only thing is, and I'm sure they've got something planned, but she is so much better than Maurice that. There's no way she can't just destroy Maurice.
This happened last time when who did Maurice face last time? Sorry, was it a Bella?
Nikki Bella.
John Cena and Nikki Bella.
Yeah,
and it was the same again. Maurice basically just ran around.
Well, John Cena's miles better than The Miz. Maurice is better. It is very one-sided.
It just works, doesn't it? It just works.
It's fine. It's fine.
Maurice is pretty fire on the mic. And being like, I said it last week about being a manager, she is just perfect. And The Miz, I know, Keeney, you think they're sort of playing into this deliberately, but Maurice got annoyed again with The Miz here because he basically did a promo on her behalf and he doesn't know, she's standing behind him and suddenly she's gone and he doesn't notice for ages. Not a lot to this segment, but I thought we'd better bring it up.
Again, I think this is... I reckon they've got a plan with Miz and Maurice. They've, kayfabe, they've got some plan for the match at Rumble. So the reason why they're doing this is to try and give Edge and Beth, a false sense of, So I think that's what they're doing. I think that's the storyline they're playing. I don't believe Maurice is angry with The Miz. I think it's all planned. And like I say, and they kind of have to do that because Maurice cannot beat Beth Phoenix without some sort of shenanigans. Miz could be Edge without shenanigans. And I know Edge is better, but Miz is he's a former world champion. He's a pretty decent, not quite top tier guy, but not far off top tier. So yeah, I think that's what they're doing here. I mean, the match, am I looking forward to it? Probably not. Not really overly hyped for this one. But...
I am, because I'm not. If you look at everything else on the Rumble card, it's probably last, but still, I think it's going to offer something different and fun.
It's a different match, isn't it?
Yeah. No,
one thing I really did like here was the video packages. So Edge is sort of talking through Beth's achievements, and he then does a video package with loads of people commenting on how great Beth Phoenix was. Mickey James again. I'm getting my fix of Mickey James at the moment, aren't I? She was here again.
Lucky boy.
She was on the video. I was like, great. I don't know if they did that on purpose or not, but she was on the video because all the others were current WWE. You had Rhea Ripley, you had Natalia, obviously she's close to her. A few others. I think Bianca Belair was on there. All people that were sort of obvious WWE superstars talking about Beth. And then you had Miz do one for Maurice, and there wasn't anybody on it. It was just a voiceover. And I thought that was cleverly done, sort of the difference. So everyone respects Beth Phoenix, but nobody has any respect for Maurice. So I thought that was quite...
Poor Maurice. I've got respect for Maurice.
Oh, I know, but in the kayfabe...
Yeah, I know. In this, it works very well, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I thought that was very good.
It was good. Shall we move on to Seth now? Are you...
Yeah.
Krusty is itching to talk about Seth Rollins.
I was actually going to speak about someone else, but since you mentioned Seth... so...
It's going to burn it down.
We had a great promo straight out the bat from Seth.
Yeah.
Saying he doesn't need an advocate because he's Seth freaking Rollins. That does it for me. That's all he needs to say. He's always been good, but he's just taken it up a notch, hasn't he? I think in terms of promo, I was unsure at first when we had this, when he had his sort of interim character, but he has nailed it now. He has nailed it. And then Big E came out, and basically they had a back and forth of, well, let's have a match right now. It ended with.
Yeah, I was surprised it kind of just led to Big E v Seth Rollins.
Yeah, and Seth was like, yeah, sure.
In the middle of a Raw, not like because obviously the main event was the women, so they wouldn't put it on as the main event. But yeah, just like normally those matches, you would save them for either the main event or the pay-per-view or something. Two stars of that. I mean, that could have been the one-on-one day one title match originally.
Definitely.
And they just kind of threw it in the middle of a Raw out of nowhere. Which I don't mind them doing that, by the way.
Yeah.
But,
just lately, they are throwing everything at these shows, which as wrestling fans...
Well, at Raw, I think they're throwing it at Raw, not so much at SmackDown. SmackDown feels like...
Well, they still have a roster on SmackDown, do they, to do it?
No, they're lucky Brock's got covering both shows at the moment. Bloody hell.
Yeah. But we got a clean win for Seth, which I wasn't expecting. I thought he'd win, but this is great.
I thought he'd win, but he would do something, like distract the ref and do a low blow or something, Hit
him with that stomp.
Yep, and I think we're telling the story with Big E. I think Big E is going to win the Royal Rumble. That's what I think. I don't know who he faces. Yeah. I've got no idea. I don't know who champ's going to be. But I think Big E right now is the standout Rumble contender. They'll probably build more up in the next 3 weeks, and I'll change my mind in 3 weeks. But right now, if I'm predicting,
I think he's facing Seth at Mania. I think the fact that he's just beat him here,
Big E and Seth and Lesnar and Reigns.
Yeah, that's my pred. If that happens, you heard it here first. And this is a good time for me to tell everyone that I'm the reigning, defending prediction champion of 2 years. I might have done awful at day one.
Yeah, so you're currently last.
Nobody knows that. But they do. But
they do now. So
we move on to... we haven't even spoke about the start.
We haven't even mentioned Brock Lesnar yet, in Raw terms, but we had a Lesnar-Lashley promo back and forth.
I nearly gave this my top mark because of the knock-knock joke. I would never give... Normally I moan when these get Happy Corbin and Baron... Mott's doing their jokes, but Brock Lesnar telling a knock joke. It's one of the best bits of TV.
Brock is on fire, isn't he?
Yeah, this was great. I loved it. So it starts weirdly with MVP and Lashley went to come out, and Cedric and Shelton are there, and I'm like, business, are we doing this or not? I'm so confused.
I thought they were never back together.
At least we got some clarity on this show. So Bobby just says he's working alone. Paul introduces Brock. Brock does very much a face promo, I thought, and then so then Lashley and MVP arrive. They had a really good. I mean, they were talking about clothing, the clothes the fancy clothes that Hurt Business wear, and he told the knock joke, and it was just great. And then end of the segment, Cedric and Shelton come back out and try to attack Lashley, which backfires massively for them. Don't think that's going to lead to anything at all. No. It might, they might cost Lashley at the Rumble or something. I don't know. I don't really see the point.
I don't think that's a big enough angle.
Because then what's Lashley going to do? Just beat them up again like he already has done. There's no real point in it. I don't really get why they did this on this show.
Well, the reason I think they did it was because I think for the first time in months, Lashley come across as not the alpha male in a segment. I think Lesnar overpowered him in this segment. So I think he needed that beatdown to kind of give him back some credibility a bit. Because I thought Lashley looked a bit like a deer in headlights during most of this segment, personally. And I was surprised because Lashley has been impressing me so much for such a long time. So I was very surprised with how out of his depth Lashley looked, personally.
Then I thought that's a bit harsh.
I wouldn't say that.
Maybe a bit harsh, but he definitely looked.
I mean, he
wasn't the alpha. He's a character. Yeah. No, that's right. I'm not. This is different to the Tony Storm thing I did a couple of weeks back. He is not out of his depth, but he didn't look like the alpha.
The thing is, you can't have him dominating everyone every week because you still need to keep Brock strong.
Well, we kind of have up until this point. This is kind of the first time I've ever seen him not be the alpha, and I think the reason why they had him beat down Cedric and Shelton was so he had, he got some alpha-ness back. It's a very alpha show with Alpha Academy as well, winning the belts.
That's all I've really got to say about that segment. Anything else?
There was a segment I was not expecting to go the way it did, I suppose.
Oh, right.
This is Alexa Bliss.
Coming
back on frame. This Raw was
mention.
Just bang, 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 bang. So I thought, they've kept this gimmick, which I wasn't too sure, this character. But I actually really liked the way they did it with the pouring the jug and overflowing the glass, and then she just goes mental. I don't know where it's going to go and how this is going to happen, but maybe the fact that she's having therapy will, I don't know, bring her back.
I think it's going to lead to her eventually coming back as her original self.
Yeah,
I don't see the point in it otherwise. I don't really see the point in it otherwise. If what they're going to achieve, but I thought she acted this really, really well.
She's good.
She always has done.
She's an amazing.
Some of the stuff she's given was terrible, but she's always done well with it. And I thought slowly here she just got more and more psychotic. The water and then just smashing everything up. Just great to see her back. I want to see old Alexa Bliss. I don't really want to see this one for too much longer. So hopefully in the next coming weeks, I'm expecting her in-ring return to come in the Rumble. I think that makes sense.
Do you reckon she's a potential Rumble winner?
She's got to be amongst the contenders. There aren't many stand out at the moment.
Yeah, I think she's in with a chance. Definitely, she'd be up there right now for me.
It depends as well how she comes. If she comes back in this gimmick, then I don't think she will. But if she comes back as Goddess Alexa Bliss and she's sorted her mind, they're telling the story of she's sorted her mind out, they can obviously make her win the Rumble and look great that way. But if she comes back like this, I don't think so. I think she'll just be a bit too crazy.
I thought it was good. I enjoyed that segment. And I guess the only other thing that really happened on the show was AJ versus Austin Theory, which I didn't have too much to say on it, but more that I'm just excited to see AJ Styles back.
That was just
action.
Yeah, I think that was just a promo for NXT, wasn't it? Which I think
we can
segue on to NXT.
There
we'll kick off with the same two guys, AJ and Grayson Waller, which is my top mark this week. I just love this match. absolutely brilliant, these two. I think Grayson Waller every week impresses me so much. He's turned into a really good heel on NXT, the top NXT heel probably now. And he isn't just all talk either, because he could really go in ring. We saw him at War Games have a really good match. And again, I've said this for so many weeks, pretty much since the podcast has been going. I've want to see AJ in singles matches, just wrestling. And we saw that here. And this is exactly why I've been saying that, because he is so good, AJ, so good in ring. And I just love this match. But it wasn't even just a match, because then we got after the match, we had a return of LA Knight, which
I got excited.
Yeah, when he said when he said his friend, I was like, who's AJ's friend? I couldn't think who it was.
I couldn't
think
it was probably going to be him, but
but LA Knight, and what a pop he got, LA Knight. He got proper reaction, and great to see LA Knight back, and that's another top guy on NXT that's been missing since War Games, hasn't he? Really?
Yeah, I was worried about LA Knight, because they quite often they've written these characters off NXT TV, and then we've just never seen them again. They've either been released, or sometimes they go up to the main roster. But I was a bit worried what they were going to do with LA Knight here. But yeah, it's nice to see him come out and look important and strong at the end as well. And to have that sort of relationship with AJ Styles suggests that they obviously think quite highly of him, because AJ Styles is so respected. But yeah, the match itself was just, I don't want to use AJ's word, but phenomenal.
It was phenomenal.
So many times already, I can't help it.
Yeah. But it was very, very good. One bit I loved was when Grayson Waller got really cocky and went for the Styles Clash. And it backfired for him. But I was popping there. I was like, oh my God, is he going to do it? And
there's a bit as well, which was great from Grayson Waller, where he was outside the ring and he jumped through the second rope and then rolled and did a cutter.
Yeah, that was great.
So good, so slick from Grayson Waller. That's I don't know how long he's been wrestling. I don't think it's very long, but he is very slick in ring.
Skilled.
For someone who's not a seasoned vet.
He's a good all-rounder, isn't he? He's a very good talker, obviously. That's his main
I don't think he's on NXT for very long, by the way. I think he comes to the main roster very soon, Rumble soon, personally.
They keep putting him on there, don't they? They don't do that.
I think he is fast-tracked.
I think NXT needs him for a while, though. I think they need him. I know it would be nice for him to get called up, but I think NXT needs him for a while.
They also have...
They've got a lot of people in the back.
Carmelo, Breaker, Walter potentially coming up. They've got some guys on NXT. I think SmackDown needs him more than NXT.
But I think if you're going to get Dunn and Ciampa, which we'll get to, which I think will happen, they make more sense. I mean, they've been around NXT for a long time.
I agree, but
they need to call up
Grayson
more.
Waller's been on Raw 3 weeks in a row now. And I know it's maybe all to build to this NXT match, but I just think he seems to be, really behind him.
He does.
Yeah.
It's just so,
I just don't want to call him
but
up
it owns, doesn't it? It's just
I feel like you can call someone up too soon and then they get lost, and I don't want that to happen. Because if they called him up now, you'd have to go, well, what's his plan for Mania? Oh, we've got all these other Mania matches. He'd be on the pre-show or something.
Could it be AJ for Mania? Could they prolong that? I
enjoyed the match, but you don't need to see it again. One thing I really did enjoy about it as well was I didn't think, I had no idea who was going to win. Because I thought AJ might put over the young star, which he has been doing. He did it with Omos on Raw. And obviously being on NXT, it kind of made sense for Grayson Waller to win. But at the same time, he's AJ Styles. Yeah. So if AJ Styles wins, you don't begrudge it at all because he's AJ Styles. It doesn't. And Grayson Waller doesn't really lose anything from losing to one of the best wrestlers in the world. So yeah, it was one of them. I didn't really know who was going to win, and good finish with the forearm, and just the angle afterwards kind of tipped it over the edge. I think to be the top mark of the week. I
think the finish made it top mark as well. Yeah, the LA made it top mark. What else from NXT guys stood out to you?
So we had some good old promos going on, didn't we? We had Braun Breaker with a promo straight away, just basically showing his amazing intensity. I do really like this guy. I think he's got it all. Little lines when you turn up for training, I've already trained, this sort of thing.
Yeah,
I think he's just going to be amazing. There wasn't too much more to it, just a real.
It was quite short and quick, wasn't it? I like it. I don't need, especially if it's just one person talking. I think they need to be kept under 3-4 minutes.
Well, I thought we might see a contender come out to him, but we didn't. It was just
no.
him.
I think it's
I was thinking, well, who I was thinking in my head. I was like, well, who's going to come out then? I was thinking, well, it's not going to be Carmelo because he's got another title. And I was trying to go through the hills. Obviously, I knew Grayson Waller was having the match with AJ, and I was trying to like go through who it could be. I was thinking, is like Roddy Strong after he lost the title and Cruiserweight going to come out or something? Like, I could not think of anyone. But it'll be interesting to see what we get there.
He had this a couple of times on the show because that sort of segues into Carmelo Hayes with a fire promo. Again,
yeah.
This guy can talk.
Speaking of guys who've got it all,
it's setting up a feud that will go to the moon.
Yeah,
yes,
Cameron Grimes. So yeah, that should be very interesting.
Yeah, that'll be a great match. Cameron Grimes is a great wrestler, and
kind of knew when Carmelo turned up in that car and gave his keys to the guy that someone was going to do something. Didn't have a clue it was going to be.
Yeah,
and I wasn't expecting it to be Cameron Grimes purely because he had the video package earlier in the night. Then he had a match. I was like, oh, they're showing Cameron Grimes quite a lot. And then he did that after, and I was like, okay, great. I'm glad because I love some Cameron Grimes on the TV.
Oh, Cameron Grimes is great.
He's hilarious.
Yeah,
but
he's really
and that'll be a great match, I'm sure. Oh, in ring.
By the way, he is one person I don't want to be called up Cameron Grimes because I think he'd be a 24/7 title if he was on main roster. Yeah, I think they would just take advantage of his silly side and wouldn't use him properly. So I want him in NXT forever, Cameron Grimes.
You love people staying in NXT forever.
I do. I still miss Gargano. I want him back.
That's just because he's not on TV. I think you'll change your mind when he lands on his feet somewhere.
You're probably right. What else have we got? We had Tony D'Angelo beating Pete Dunn.
I thought this match was very good, actually.
Crowbar on a pole match.
Yeah, I don't like these gimmicks. I don't like those matches.
Especially a crowbar. A crowbar is one of those things where you can't really use it in a wrestling match because it's so, like, brutal.
I mean, they did find a way to do it, but yeah, I don't like it when they do that on a pole thing.
Yeah, but most of the match, once the crowbar was down, was them avoiding the crowbar.
Yeah.
There was a couple of submissions. Like the wrestling stopped for a bit, yeah.
And obviously Tony whacked him over the head with it at the end, which is great. I thought it was a really good finish.
And Tony D'Angelo going over the older guy.
Yeah, I think that made sense.
We've seen that a lot.
I think Pete's probably going to go up.
Yeah, it just means call up, doesn't it? Sure.
Him and Ciampa had matches on before SmackDown and before Raw last week.
They're coming up.
So Ciampa faced T-Bar on main event, and Pete Dunne faced Akira Tozawa. And they faced each other at SmackDown. So I believe they're both going to come up.
Yeah.
In or around the Rumble, maybe they'll wait till Mania.
SmackDown needs them, so I'm all for that.
Yeah. So that was, but I thought the match was, like I said, I don't like the stipulation, but I actually thought Tony D'Angelo had a good match again here. We talked about his first match with Pete being like a good in-ring match for him. This, I thought he did well again here. I thought he looked good. And Dunn's great, so credit there.
Yeah. All right. So something else here. I don't know what you guys think of this, but what did you guys think of Wendy Choo?
Well, I wanted to get to this. This is one of the things I was going to talk about. So Hook has fans called Hookers, right? That's their group name. Hookers. Okay. Can we be choosers?
How have we got onto Hook here?
No, because
you can't. I love him as much as the next guy, but
I'm copying this from somewhere online. But we need to be choosers because I'm officially part of the Wendy Choo fan club.
Choosers.
That's what they're calling them.
I mean,
I like it. I know it's kind of like female Orange Cassidy almost. Like
that is, yeah,
laid back. But I thought she was when she wrestled, she was great as well. And I remember when she wrestled as Mei Ying, she only had one match, but I thought she looked really good in the ring.
But that's definitely is the most impressive thing. She's gone from Mei Ying, like this dark overlord, to a lady in a onesie falling asleep on the side of the ring. Yeah, that's a gimmick change, just like one spectrum.
And I loved
it
because at one point she was like playing dead, and they were going to pin her, and then she just and that led to the finish of the match as well.
Yeah,
got up, kicked her, and then Persia and Indy did their moves and got the pin. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a good debut. I thought this.
Are we all aboard the Wendy Choo train?
Choo.
We might be. I didn't expect that. I did not expect that. I'm aboard. Yeah.
I thought it was. I enjoyed it.
I'll tell you something that you guys might not be aboard though.
Okay.
I think you're already not aboard. What did you think of? I mean, it's just because we talked about gimmicks, so let's segue on to another one.
Yeah,
Boa blowing fire into.
I'm not a fan of Boa. I nearly skid marked this. This was going to be my second choice. I didn't like it. I like the fact they were brawling backstage and all that, but the match ended in DQ. You know that annoys me in the first place.
Double count out, wasn't it?
Double count out even. Whatever it was. It was a non-finish. Then they were brawling backstage. I was like, okay, the brawl looks quite good, but then that got like to the end. It was like that was nonsense.
Yeah, I do think a fireball was probably a bit too much. We saw it with Alexa Bliss, and if Tizzle was here, he'd probably be going nuts because he hated the fire stuff with Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
So it wasn't needed. But I mean, this Boa character is what it is. It's a supernatural. It is a version of Alexa Bliss the Fiend because he changes character and he puts his face paint on and he starts blowing fire in people's faces.
But it's just it's not really been explained why and how.
He has taken over the soul of Mei Ying. It's been explained. He's taken
why
over
was
the
Mei
soul.
Ying like that though? Like
I don't know. Now she's tired. I don't know.
Give it a couple of months, he'll be nodding off backstage.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I would pop for that if Boa started.
That would be great.
He just steals every gimmick
The
that Wendy Choo
sleeping crew.
has. So he just steals all her gimmicks. So she just becomes he becomes Wendy Choo, and then Wendy Choo does something else. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
a trampoliner or something, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a trampoline."
A trampoliner?
I was trying to think of something. I don't know.
Something a bit extra random.
NXT has random gimmicks. You've got Tiffany Stratton playing tennis and stuff. You know, you got all these like.
Yeah, but trampolining. I mean, it's a bit too far fetched. But I think that was it for NXT.
I've got something else. What did you make of the Dusty Cup qualifier where Haaland just got his team DQ'd and we had Edris Enofe and Malik
I kind of
Blade.
forgot about it.
Yeah, I forgot about this. This could have been on the line of being a skid as well.
Yeah, I didn't
like it. I hate teams getting into tournaments by getting their ass kicked.
Yeah, I do like Edris Enofe. I just want to make that clear. I think he's really good.
Yeah, nothing against
for the time he was in the ring. But the story. I mean, I don't really know what you do with Haaland if he's this out of control character. You know, there's so much you can do with him. He isn't going to be in the title feud, is he? He's not going to be doing anything of significance on NXT until he changes his character.
It's just going to build until he turns.
Destroys Joe Gacy. Yeah.
And then, so basically he's just going to go ahead until he turns and then that's going to be it. So I can't lie, I'm not enjoying this at the moment. I'm not enjoying this sort of this gimmick and feud.
Let's move on then.
Something I have been enjoying, as always, is AEW.
Yes. Shall we start with Rampage?
Rampage, yes, we certainly should. Would you like to kick us off?
Well, I mean, I will, and it's already been mentioned already today, but I'm going to talk about Hook again. He beat Aaron Solo in nothing special. I mean, it is special, but
it is special. The moment that music drops.
Oh, that music!
He's just so cool.
Oh God,
is there anyone cooler in WWE? Sorry, wrestling. Is there anyone cooler in wrestling?
Hook is the coolest person. I think maybe in the world. I think wrestling goes out the window. I think it might be in the world. And that haircut. I mean, I have never seen. No one else.
Maybe we could give Fisher this haircut.
I'll go for 1 minute and you guys go nuts about Hook.
We're going to give you a Hook haircut.
Well, we have to start somewhere, and AEW Hook is the place to start. Just, I mean, it was a great performance, but it was standard Hook.
If you're unsure where to start, send Hook.
Exactly. I always think to send Hook.
I just think the moves he's doing, the execution is brilliant. It's so precise. I think maybe because he's fresh, he is like straight out of training. He's doing everything to the textbook. It's not like he's learned bad habits over the years, I guess, where some wrestlers will have. It's as if he's pulled it out of a textbook of wrestling. This is how you do it. And he's hitting those moves. I think it's great also how he's showing some like real aggression now. Like he kept the Taz mission locked in, didn't he?
Yep.
And then we had the spot at the end with QT Marshall. Sorry, I've taken over, but
they go on. No.
But Hook for me at the moment is sort of like Seth in WWE. I'm just on it, and I know we all are with Hook.
Yeah, big Hook fans.
But the QT Marshall thing where he attacked him at the end, and he did that awesome suplex where he pretty much landed on his head. I'm just really excited for this to continue. I can't wait to see where this goes. And I think they're building them brilliantly.
I just want to see him beat people up on Rampage every week. That's what I'm happy with that for the next 7-8 weeks. No problem seeing him do this every week.
Yeah.
Anything else from Rampage that stood out? I don't think I've got much else from Rampage. We can go on to Battle of the Belts if not.
So we just had
I was going to talk about
Baker and Hayter versus Riho and Soho.
Oh yeah, no, we can talk
Ruby
about the tag match first if you want, because that leads into. Well, we'll talk about let's do that after, because that leads into Battle of the Belts. And they had a match at Battle of the Belts.
Okay.
So Jake Atlas had his debut in AEW.
Yes.
He got injured, unfortunately. That was the injury I was talking about last week, because the match had already been recorded. So the match took place, but he got injured in the match, which is why they had to do the finish on the fly. Looked a bit awkward, the finish, because he tried to do a Panama Sunrise, didn't really work. But yeah, so that's what happened there. Unfortunately.
Yeah, so
but Ivory looked really good in the match until that point.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I heard that he blew his knee out during the match, but they carried on with it anyway, which I don't know if that's the right thing to do in that situation. Probably should just stop it, but it's live TV and you do what you need to do to keep the show going, don't you, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's a good match and we'll get on to Adam Cole later, so I won't talk too much about Adam Cole right now. What about the women's tag, Krusty?
I just thought that Hayter's looking really strong. I know we've rated her a few times.
Big fan.
She's hitting some really good suplexes, things like that. And Riho's starting to impress me again as well. I wasn't a fan of the first title run, but I think she's looking really good now and works great. I think it's because she's got superstars that complement her as well now.
Yeah, the division's stronger.
There wasn't too much left on the roster, was there? And then again, you had Hayter missing Riho and clubbing Britt Baker in the face.
I just want to see that match. Just want to see it.
It's split, isn't it? It's going to happen. But AEW was so good at building these over a long time without you getting bored.
They are.
And I think they're just going to keep doing this and doing this.
I enjoyed this tag match. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I was just going to say, I think Hayter's kind of my female Hook. I absolutely love Hayter. Such a big fan of hers. I can watch her. Again, I watch her every week, Jamie Hayter. I think she's so good in ring. And just impresses me. I've spoken about her before loads. I'm number one Jamie Hayter fan.
There's some really good young talent in AEW, which is really nice to see. And obviously, we spoke about the NXT young talent.
Yes, wrestling's in a great place. There's so many.
Yeah, we'll get to Dynamite because there was some two very young stars sort of main event in the show on that later. But
there was a tiny promo on them. A segment of a promo from Rampage, which was Andrade, had a very small promo.
Oh, yeah, this was a funny one.
And I just loved him saying Mr. Sting's assistant is Darby.
And it was like, can I have that little boy or something, didn't he? He called Darby a little boy.
I think it's making a feud, though, because you can tell that Darby is going to be absolutely livid with that.
Again, there's another one. Andrade v. Darby. I can't wait to see this. It'd be so good, wouldn't it?
And Andrade also leading into that. I know it's not got to Dynamite yet, but leading into that sort of had a promo with Matt Hardy trying to get him to work with him. So I don't know what they're going to do there, but I think we're going to get some sort of deal between the two businessmen. Andrade's.
Oh God.
I'm not sure about that because not
Matt Hardy. Please character. Don't.
But that's the direction it looks like it's going. Unfortunately.
Yeah. So we should move on to Battle of the Belts. And we should probably start in the first match.
Yeah.
We had an interim TNT match because Cody was injured.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although he's back next week, so I don't know why we needed an interim belt.
I don't know if it was. I don't know why they didn't just cancel the match.
Or just say we'll have Dustin v. Sami, the winner faces
I'm
Cody. I'm
not sure if he had COVID or something. I don't know what the issue was.
I assumed he was out for a while. They did an interim belt, but then they announced he was back next Wednesday. So I'm like, okay, do we need an interim for the sake of a week and a half? Seems a bit.
It's a bit weird.
Overkill.
I thought that Sami was going to win it back down the road anyway. It's
maybe he will.
It just seems a bit weird that he's already kind of done it now.
Yeah,
I know it wasn't against Cody, but what a match!
Yeah, and Dustin Rose has got it, hasn't he, guys?
You've always been a massive fan, haven't you?
Canadian Destroyer off the apron through a table.
Insane. How for someone his age, that is mental.
Mental.
He is.
I popped for that big time.
So I'm a huge Goldust fan. One of my favorites of all time. But in WWE, he was never really allowed or shown to wrestle as well as he can. And we saw it in glimpses. But some of his AEW matches, and this one may be even the best so far. It's right up there. I mean, he had that one with Cody.
The Cody one was outstanding, but that was more the story. It was more the story.
Yeah, in terms of pure wrestling, this one was some match. And he had a good one with Daniel Bryan as well in the.
If you want to have a great match, you want Sammy G in the ring, don't you?
Sammy G is great as well. I think that helps having a younger talent. Nearly, he's like 25 years younger than him. It's mad to think. But yeah. Big difference in age, but
great match. And there were a few real calls here where I thought Dustin was going to win. He hit 2 crossroads, I think.
Yeah,
and I was like, Dustin's going to win this. I can't believe Dustin's going to win the belt, and he didn't. But yeah, they had me for a bit in this one.
They had a nice hug at the end, didn't they?
Yeah, I love a nice hug. Yeah.
And then Garcia came out, and I thought this little segment was really good because it was if they were proper fighting. The way they were scrapping around on the floor, it looked real. It looked really good. So I'm actually quite looking forward to this in a way.
Yeah. I think Daniel. We'll get on to Daniel Garcia a bit later, but yeah.
I think. But I just thought that area was good.
It was. What else from this show did you like?
We had Ricky Starks versus Matt Sydal, didn't we? After that, I think
I was pleased to see Starks back.
Yeah,
it's
nice to see him because he hasn't. I feel like he hasn't done much.
We hear him every week
on comms.
Yeah, we hear him on comms for Rampage all the time.
Yeah, on comms, but he hasn't had many matches. Certainly not on TV. He might have had some on Dark or whatever, but
probably has.
It's cool here. Yeah, really nice spear. He's probably always done that. I just haven't seen him wrestle in ages. But I was kind of shocked when he did a spear as his sort of setup move for his finisher. But yeah, wins kind of pretty convincingly, really. Sydal did have a couple of near falls early on in the match. I think Sydal he's one of those people who can make the other wrestler looks good, but he hardly ever wins. He's one of those kind of guys.
That's basically his spot, isn't it? Just to lose to people. But have good matches.
And have good matches. There's nothing wrong with it being in that spot.
That's fine. He's getting TV time.
But yeah, I mean, I think that the Battle of the Belts putting the FTR title on the FTR title. Dax Howard and Thingy should have that.
Keely wishes.
Oh god, I wish I was an FTR title.
The FTW title on the line was a bit weird because you just never see that defended. But I guess Battle of the Belts, they were never going to put the main world title on there. They could
have had a tag belt, I reckon, because they seem to defend that left, right, and centre.
Yeah, I know they'd only just done it, hadn't they? But
and that's
Jungle Boy
Rampage this week, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Match.
The match is going thick and fast at AEW, as always.
There is as well, and another title match here. We had finished off with Britt and Riho. Britt and Riho, yeah, that is right. I didn't make any notes for this match, but Britt Baker retaining, even if not the cleanest of victories. I can't remember the finish off the top of my head, unless one of you two know it.
She put her in a lockjaw.
Wasn't there sort of interference?
I think there was. Hayter and Britt argued. The ref had sent Rebel back, and it was actually Hayter that was trying to get involved in the match.
Yeah,
and then they had an argument, and then Riho got a near fall.
That's more apparent to me.
Yeah, Riho got a very near fall just after that, and then Britt turned it around and got the lockjaw, and then she tapped immediately.
And that's her first win against Riho.
I agree with what Krusty said earlier. Riho's had a really impressive return. I think she had run a bit stagnant the first time she's been gone, but she's gone ages. And I think her matches have been excellent. She's come back. I've really enjoyed watching her wrestle.
Yeah, and again, something else Krusty's mentioned before is we got a better Britt Baker title match here, because I think the last couple haven't lived up to your standards after Krusty. Britt Baker.
No, she's looking so much better at the moment. And I think I know we had them before, but I think the addition of Hayter and Rosa really sort of add to it as well. But yeah, I think she's really sort of. I think it's almost like they've noticed that the matches weren't sort of up to standard, and they've really come again. But it's a shame. It's a shame because also that one of the matches that I didn't enjoy was versus Conti, And look, last week, she had an absolutely incredible match. Incredible. Yeah. So the fact that those
sometimes it's just chemistry doesn't. Together. Yeah, sometimes it's just not as good as you'd think. And sometimes as well, when the Britt Conti match, I think it was the card it was on and the placement of it. Like, I don't think it was about. If you had that match on Dynamite, we'd have probably been okay with it. But I think it was on a big show where there was loads of great matches that just didn't stand out. I think that didn't help it as well. Didn't feel as important. It's kind of, there was not really much of a feud to it either. The story wasn't really there.
No, fair
I think
enough.
It was this at the end where you had Hayter sort of push Rosa away. So I think we're just sort of itching towards this split.
We're getting there, aren't we?
Yeah.
Don't be a lover, be a hater. That's what I say.
It's a good one.
Well, speaking of lovers, we talk about the opening segment of Dynamite Fisher.
Right, okay. So you've probably been wondering what my top mark was, because I've been very quiet on that front. But yeah, so this was my top mark of the week, the opening segment of AEW Dynamite. And the reason for that is in putting Britt Baker and Adam Cole together finally and having them as an on-screen pairing. And just that moment, I always loved the Young Bucks kiss spot anyway. But when Adam Cole went to do that,
that was brilliant.
And I was like, here come the Young Bucks. And then Britt's just like, no. And then like, kisses her husband. That was really, really great, I thought. Really enjoyed that. And yeah, just the whole thing. Obviously, Coland is in the ring with Fish and O'Reilly, which again still feels amazing to see. They cut a really good promo. The Young Bucks come out not happy with them. And eventually, obviously, this leads to the best friends coming down, who feuding with them. They have a little bit of a scuffle. And then I was sort of like, when Chris Statlander come down, I was like, where's this going then? Because I wasn't expecting Britt Baker, because she's not really involved with them at all normally.
Yeah.
And then, Statlander comes down, sort of gets in Adam Cole's face, and then Britt Baker attacks her from behind, which was awesome, I thought.
Yeah, I think this was really good. Really enjoyed it. And the fact that you're bringing in another angle with Britt and Statlander. But the part I love is the fact that we're really building to a Fish O'Reilly versus Young Bucks feud, which could even go into adding Cole and Omega eventually. And man, any of these matches, normal tag team, 3-on-3, 1v1s are just going to be insane. I cannot wait for that. This is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Red Dragon. Is it Red Dragon? They call
Red
themselves?
Dragon, yeah.
I mean, what a Heyman name, but I love it. Yeah.
They didn't call themselves Paragon this week, which I think we were expecting. But maybe Paragons down the line.
I don't know. I'm not sure what that was all about. But I thought this was a great segment. I could say my top mark of the week. Best Friends kind of felt like an afterthought in this whole thing, but it doesn't matter. But also, just leading on from that, it led to another promo later on in the night with Adam Cole, Fish O'Reilly, and Britt Baker. And we're getting next week a mixed tag team match, which we don't really get much of. But Statlander and Orange versus Cole and Britt, which is going to be a hell of a fun match, I reckon. And I can see, it would not surprise me in this match if Statlander takes on Cole at some point. I don't know, maybe not, but it wouldn't surprise me if there's not like tag into the match and have a full match, but like a spot where Statlander does something to Adam Cole, because I feel like she's kind of got that intensity where she could.
Well, maybe you could see
hang with the blokes.
Yeah, well, maybe you could see Baker do something to Cassidy as well.
Maybe, quite possibly. I feel like Cassidy. You might actually get a mixed tag rather than man, woman, very separate, you know.
Yeah.
Which is what I don't like about these matches sometimes. We'll see how it goes as well with Miz and Maurice versus. I can't see there being a lot there. But again, maybe we'll get Beth on Miz, maybe, quite possibly. Could chuck Miz.
Yeah, Beth on Miz. Yeah, not
and here.
And the same here with, maybe Edge just spears Maurice through like through a table.
I don't see anything there, but I think definitely here as well with Statlander, you could get something. Because she's quite strong.
Yeah.
Very strong, actually.
Look forward to that. Speaking of strong, good segue.
Yeah.
Good segue. Someone else I am absolutely massive on and is absolutely massive. Wardlow versus CM Punk. Now, I am chuffed to bits with the way this went. What I didn't want was Wardlow to get in the ring with CM Punk and Punk to run rings around him. No, what did we get? We got Punk struggling to knock him over. He was hitting him with clotheslines, kicks, and Wardlow was not going down. And then he just absolutely destroyed him with 5 power bombs in a row. Obviously, we had then MJF saying, no, I want one more. And then he ended up just like beating the hell out of him.
Through a table as well.
Through a table. Yeah. And then Punk got the win from a cradle where he just about got in because he couldn't stand up. So I don't think you've taken anything away from Wardlow because he just looks like an absolute monster here. Punk's got the win, so he's not looking bad here at all. And then we've got the growing of the Wardlow versus MJF. When are they going to split? This is going to happen. We had the chairman in between them, so we can see that coming along at some point. I almost thought Wardlow was going to hit Spears here. I thought that was coming, but again, AEW just drawing out these feuds. But someone who I love, and I think he's going to be a star one day, and I hope they carry this on, is Wardlow. Yeah. Sorry, I've done it again. What did you think of it?
No, I completely agree. I mean, I think if you go back to maybe a year ago, maybe a bit longer, you're thinking about the big guys that AEW had. And I think there was a point where we would have said Brian Cage ahead of Wardlow. There's a point where we might have said Hobbs ahead of Wardlow. But Wardlow he's the guy for me. He's a genuine. If he was challenging Hangman Page tomorrow, I'd be like, fair enough. Like I'd be in for that match. So I think Wardlow is the guy. I think he is. We talk about all of these, the young guys coming through and the pillars of AEW. He's up there for me. He's right up like the last few weeks. I know he's had squash matches, but the way he's come across and here to dismantle CM Punk, who I know he's not at his peak, but CM Punk is like one of the best wrestlers of all time. He calls himself the best in the world, and Wardlow has made him like a ragdoll.
Across someone, it's great to see him put over someone and not be too sort of arrogant that he won't do it, because he has put Wardlow over here big time. I know.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be so one-sided. I thought, Wardlow might get his power bombs in at some point, and like Punk will kick out and they'll get a near fall. But it wasn't. Punk hardly got a move in. It was just power bomb through table.
I loved it.
Absolutely destroyed it. And the only reason Wardlow,
I said this last week, I wanted it to happen, and it did.
And the only reason Wardlow didn't win was because MJF was an idiot, and for some reason Wardlow listened to him, which was his downfall, obviously.
Yeah. Yep, but it's
and we also got MJF later also teasing. He was like, you want the match? I'm going to give you the match next week. It will be CM Punk versus Sean Spears. I was like,
Sean Spears, he's getting a good old match there, isn't he?
Yeah, Sean Spears is going to get wrecked, but
Yeah, Punk has to just destroy Sean Spears.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he's not getting 7 power bombs on Punk like Wardlow did, is he?
No, he might hit him with a chair or something. You never know.
Yeah, after the match probably. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something Sean Keeney mentioned about Wardlow sort of being a star and coming up. Well, obviously, we've seen the wrestling. The one thing we haven't really seen is the promos. But by putting him into a feud with MJF, you are giving him the best chance to come out with some really good promos. If they allowed him the time to do that. So it's almost a great tutor for him in that area. I mean, we don't know if he's any good because we haven't really seen him promo yet, have we?
No, you're right. And he's been in AEW from the start, basically, or close to. He's been there for a long time, so it's not like he's new to the business. I think he'll be fine. And I'd almost say I don't even know if you need Wardlow to be good on the mic. If I don't mind him being quiet and just destroying people. I'm quite happy.
Eventually, you can put a manager with him down the line or something if you needed to.
Yeah.
Someone. I mean, they love managers in AEW, don't they? So
they love it.
Yeah. And someone that would probably go quite well with him that I loved, and it's a shame that he's disappeared. I don't know much more about it. Is Jake the Snake?
I think he's had some health problems, which is
that's a shame because he was so fire. But this segue is beautiful.
I say, do you guys smell that?
I do.
So I smell another segue coming up.
The segue, we're enjoying it today.
Jake the Snake, former manager of Lance Archer.
Yeah, I knew where you were going with that. That was
who has come out and
we love
challenged,
segues on this show.
or he just beat up Hangman Adam Page, and that's what seems to be the next title feud.
Yeah, what a good sort of interim feud. It's fresh.
Yeah, it's a nice.
We haven't seen Archer for a while, and I'm hot on Archer. I think he's great.
He was injured also. He landed on his neck.
Out. His music's just so cool because it's just like and out he comes like really fast, charging to the ring. And yeah, he destroyed Adam Page. He didn't just beat him up. I think he calls it the blackout.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
the blackout.
Launched him onto that chair.
Onto the chair. Yeah, that looked like it.
And Hangman didn't try and protect himself at all. Hangman just took it. Full.
It exploded, didn't it? That chair.
Yeah,
I was proper confused at the start of this segment because when Dan Lambert come out, I was like, "Where's this going?" You know.
Yeah, I assumed we were going to get.
So I was thinking Scorpio Sky. Like they've been talking about the TNT title. Why they I don't really. No offense to Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, they're good and everything, but I don't want to see them be Hangman. That's really pointless.
It's crazy if you went back a year ago. I think Keeney was thinking about.
Scorpio Sky is my favourite guy, but towards
probably near the start of AEW when he was beating Jericho and stuff.
Yeah.
I
will say this though. I think this is almost a perfect opponent, if not the perfect opponent for Hangman to have, because there's no big pay-per-view incoming, as far as I'm aware. So this will be a TV feud.
No, I think Revolution's probably a bit far away. So
I mean, this will happen in a couple of weeks on TV, and I think
maybe we're going to get. My prediction is we'll probably get Page v Archer here, and then we'll either get Adam Cole v Page or Kenny will come back and we'll get the rematch.
Yeah, I think I agree. He's a perfect opponent because he's a big guy with some reputation behind him.
Yeah, so
it can really give him some steam.
Yeah. If Hangman beats him, it's like a proper win. It's not like if he could have had Scorpio Sky and he would have beat Scorpio Sky, but he's probably expected to. Whereas Archer's kind of a beast, so this will be a genuine,
absolutely,
good win for him to.
Because
he beat Danielson, but after 90 minutes, took him a long time to beat Danielson. So I think just get a 20-minute clean win over Archer. That will really, be good for him.
Just talking about the promo off between Lambert and Page for a minute. There's some good lines back and forth. My favourite line was when Hangman Page called Dan Lambert a walking Facebook profile, which I thought was quite funny because he is. I get that. I get what he's saying there.
It's nice to hear Hangman. Hangman's good anyway, isn't he?
Yeah, and him and Lambert's great on the mic. So this is a good segment. I was just confused because Archer then come out, and I thought obviously he's got history with Dan Lambert. So we thought, oh God, is he going to attack him? Like, what's going to happen here? I thought maybe we're setting up Archer versus Scorpio Sky and Thingy, which would have been fine, but it's not particularly exciting. But yeah, for Archer to come out and attack Hangman Page, I'm all for that. That's good. It's great stuff.
Yeah. It is good. So anything else from Dynamite you want to discuss, guys?
I'm sure there's a couple more things.
We had Matt Hardy versus Sierra Miro Penta, which we were saying we actually were quite looking forward to having Penta have some singles matches.
Yep, I'm glad he is.
The best thing that Matt Hardy's done in a long time for me was have a basically a minute delete versus Sierra Miro match in the middle of the ring. I thought that was
great.
Was
quite long though.
I enjoyed it. Best thing Matt's done in a long time, in my opinion. Sorry, Matt Hardy, but the main thing is Penta got the win, and then at the end calls out Malachi Black.
This was about the aftermath.
Yeah, we got a debut from someone crossing.
Who I was trying to explain the other day, but I couldn't get his name.
He said a guy with tattoos.
Yeah.
Malachi Black and him, they go well together, really, don't they? One thing I do want to say
seems to look well.
After last week, I kind of criticised them keep doing the lights out because they keep doing it for everything.
They did do 2 here,
and they did 2 here. No, yeah, but
I think this was
the second one is where you do the lights out. This is fine because you do the Brody King. You got the Brody King thing.
Yeah, but we had 2 last week, and then a week before, and a week before.
I don't mind if
that's what I mean. If they do them too much, they lose impact.
100%. But I'm just saying this is an example of where.
For me. I understand.
Where you do it. This is an example of where it works.
This is nice to see, and I'm interested to see because I don't know this guy at all. So
no, I've never seen him. I've heard his name, but I've never heard him.
He's from Ring of Honor, isn't he? So
can't wait to see him wrestle. See what he's all about.
Another big lad, by the way. AEW getting another one through the door. He's quite a big guy, isn't he?
He did the running powerbombing in the corner. The running, what's it called?
Just when you
not the running bum, it's not far off.
Just when you think there's going to be a guy on AEW that actually works on his own. Nope.
No, put him with someone.
Not at all. You got to put him with someone.
House of Blacks.
And then, so should we talk about the main event?
It's time for the main event.
Yeah, big Mark Henry over there.
I love that bit from Mark Henry.
A terrible Mark Henry impression.
That was terrible.
Yeah, so again, really, this is about, I think, the aftermatch and the thread throughout the show that we got with Jericho and Eddie Kingston. But the match itself, obviously, I was mentioned earlier, like about the future. And here we got two young stars. I think they mentioned it on commentary. Sammy Guevara, I think, is 28. Daniel Garcia, I think, is 23, I think they said. So two very young
Daniel
wrestlers.
Garcia is good.
And they had a very, very good match here, I thought. Yeah, it started quite slow, but really got into it. You had Jericho and Kingston ringside of the usual kind of dives from Sami that got the crowd pumped. You had a GTH was countered into a Scorpion Deathlock, which was really sick. I thought really smooth that was. Sami did a crossroads in this match, which I thought was great after obviously having 2 done on him by Dustin and about 750 on him by Cody. Yeah, so I thought that was a cool spot as well. I really, really enjoyed that. And then after the match, obviously you got the 2.0 involvement coming down. But really, it's all about, you had the promo earlier in the night as well, Eddie Kingston and Jericho kind of butting heads. And then again here.
Yeah, we're going to get it.
So I think we're going to get Kingston v Jericho possibly at Revolution as well. And then Revolution's, I think, either end of February or March, something like that. So it's maybe 6-7 weeks away. So I think they're slowly building to that.
I think they can. I think these two can have 7-8 weeks of build on the mic, and it won't get boring because these two are so good. So I'm for this one.
And they're not going to be like
being dragged out.
They're not on opposite sides technically yet because they're both friends with the Inner Circle. So they can slowly build that story and see who the Inner Circle sides. Well, it's more Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah, Santana and Ortiz.
It's not Jake Hager. I mean, he has no history there, as far as I don't think. But yeah, Santana and Ortiz are obviously friends with Kingston. So I think that builds into this really nicely. And like you say, they've got so many good promo guys in AEW. You can put these two in the ring and have 10-minute promo and it'd be great. So yeah, really looking forward to that, I think. The match itself might not be like a 5-star classic anymore, but it'll be good, I'm sure.
No, but the build will be good enough to make up for the match being average, I think.
Yeah, and the match might end up being great, but
maybe, yeah, like I said before, Kingston Punk surpassed some expectations in terms of
that was fantastic.
Match in ring. So.
I know Jericho in ring doesn't excite me as much as he used to, unfortunately, and he's one of my favourites of all time. So I'm not.
There's going to be plenty of shenanigans in that match. There's going to be thumbtacks or bats or something, isn't there?
Yeah,
it's going to be a straight up wrestling match.
No, you're probably right. Yeah, probably won't be.
One thing I thought was cool, if we were done with that segment.
Yep.
What did we make of the Pac video package? Very interesting.
So he's lost, or he's got rid of his sight or something, hasn't he? He says ever since his can. I wonder where this is going, but it's quite interesting.
It
is intriguing.
I thought the video package was really cool the way they did it.
Yeah, when I saw this promo, I was thinking, I haven't seen Miro for a while. It kind of remind me of like a Miro stylish. And I was I was thinking like they haven't had no Miro, no Omega, no Moxley, and there's still no Danielson for a couple of weeks.
You don't even notice
that. Is
I think they brought Archer back, haven't they, to fill a spot.
I mean, Hangman wasn't in a prominent spot on the show. It was kind of mid-show that. So their roster's so short.
They rotate it so
well. They can leave out those four and no Cody if you want to include him.
Because they can have a rest, can't they? So you're not going to get these injuries that can.
Yeah, like last week, one of the Young Bucks, I think it was Matt, had COVID. So like the Young Bucks weren't on the show, and we didn't even talk about it.
Yeah, you don't even miss it.
Like, you don't even miss it. And then they're back this week. He said he got COVID in 2 days, which I find hard to believe. But there we go.
For a month we were talking about Danielson every week. He hasn't been on for 2-3 weeks, and we haven't even noticed he's been missing.
The match was only. When was the match?
Last week?
It was last week.
Was it not the week before?
It's only last week.
It was last week.
I thought he missed. I thought it's been 2 Dynamites at least.
No, it's only been 1.
No,
last week.
Well, Okay.
So
fair.
it's only one show.
I felt like he'd be gone for longer.
If you're going to use an example, Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega, yeah.
And Moxley.
And Moxley.
Week out, week out. Yeah. And Moxley, yeah. And I miss them when you speak about them, but when I'm watching, I'm not.
Yeah, Miro's another one.
Yeah, don't notice it.
I think
Miro's
Miro's
if you have Reigns off TV, Brock off TV, Seth, you're like, where are they?
God, yeah, Reigns misses a week. It's all
because the problem is if someone misses a week on like Raw, suddenly you're getting a 24/7 title match on the show. Like that's the level. Like it drops so much in quality. And that's the problem. WWE's released too many people where they don't have that mid card anymore. It's like the top tier and then the bottom tier. There's kind of not a lot in between other than tag teams. So yeah, it's quite odd, really, the way they've done it.
Yeah. Is there anything else from Dynamite?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the Hikaru Shida Serena Deeb match. I was very shocked with how little time they gave it. Bit disappointing, actually. I know I didn't really advocate for this feud continuing anyway. I wasn't really happy about it because it's gone on forever. But I think this was the only women's match on the show. And
They're building up for a fifth match.
Yeah,
they've won 2 each now. I
mean, I loved Serena Deeb attacking her before the bell and her aggression. She looked great in it, but I just thought they
I think they're kind of writing Shida off for a little while as well with that angle. It's possibly to be quite over the top beatdown, and like focusing on the knee. So I think we're going to see Shida written off for a while, which it's a shame because I think Shida's great. But yeah, I mean it is what it is. I mean these two tend to have good matches. This wasn't one of them because it wasn't really much of a match.
No, it really wasn't. I was just disappointed with what was
I think they're writing Shida off, and we're going to get down the line a fifth match, a decider.
Yeah,
it's 2-2 last minute. We're going to see who wins, and going to see Deeb.
They haven't done many like that where they just do match and match and match and match, but
and then there'll be a tag team because that's what happens when people fight so much.
I don't think they're going to end up being the bar somehow.
Be best mates.
Yeah.
I think there's only one other little segment to mention that I thought was worth mentioning. That was Powerhouse Hobbs and Dante Martin. But really, the thing to mention, I think, here was Jay Lethal finally got a spot.
Yeah.
Was wondering where he was fitting in.
I haven't seen him since his debut.
That he's done nothing. But yeah, he kind of sided with Dante here to help him win this match. So
where's Leo Rush? I did think this during a match. I was like, why is Leo Rush not with Dante?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Don't know. Maybe it's COVID or something. I haven't got a clue. You can just...
No, they can't let Leo Rush go. He needs to be wrestling. He's insane.
Or just managing Dante Martin because he's so good on the mic as well. Even if he's not wrestling, he's still got a role to play.
Yeah, he's obviously... There's probably a reason why he wasn't there this week. Obviously, I know he did have that issue with Tony Khan, let's say, but I think that's been resolved now. So I don't think there's anything there. So I don't think it's anything to do with that. I'm sure there's probably a reason that I'm not aware of.
I thought Hobbs looked good.
Yeah,
Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, Dante's amazing, but I like Hobbs. I like Hobbs. He's great.
That's great. Again, these are just two. These are probably like the 19th and 20th best wrestlers in AEW, but still great.
This is what they've got such a great mid. The thing is, AEW's got a great mid card, and that's what's great about it.
Does.
The top tier is brilliant, but the top tier in WWE is also brilliant. But you drop underneath that, and yeah, you've got some good tag teams. You've got the odd good mid carder, but I feel like AEW's really built up a strong.
Yeah, well, that's the word is built. They've built this up because Dante Martin shouldn't be a decent mid carder because he was just in a tag team with his brother, and they've made him into this like
we've made us care about him.
Really good mid card wrestler, which that just doesn't seem to happen with WWE very often. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see.
And even though he's mid card, they also make it out as if you shouldn't be beating Powerhouse Hobbs, which is just weird when you think about it. How a mid carder, you'd look at them and go, "Oh, he shouldn't be beating him."
Yeah,
I like the fact you got Taz on the mic as well on the comms because he makes it out to be even more so. He's biased, but not too much.
Yeah, he's really good, Taz.
He's so good,
really good.
Big I was like Taz in commentary all them years ago when he was in WWE doing it. I always liked him then. That was 20 years ago.
We love a commentator, don't we? Here on Recharge.
We do
Wrestling.
like talking about commentators.
We do love a commentator. Our logo is us on a commentary table.
And,
That's
I
how
liked
much we love them.
your tweet, Keeney, about Dream Match, because I tweeted about on our page. I tweeted about Corey Graves' clip being cleared, and I asked if there's any dream matches, and Keeney said Pat McAfee, Corey Graves.
Corey Graves, Pat McAfee. I want to see it.
Yes. Actually, I've seen people say Byron Saxton be Corey Graves, but realistically,
can Byron Saxton still wrestle?
I'm sure he can.
He isn't. He didn't retire because of injury. Or
no,
wasn't very good.
I don't know. Just found himself on commentary.
Sexton.
No, I want to see Graves and McAfee. The winner gets Michael Cole. That's what I want to see.
Winner gets Michael Cole.
Yeah, they both love
in a match or as their second on the commentary.
Yeah, they just whoever wins him gets them on commentary.
Oh, I thought you were going to put him in.
That's like the Electra Lopez.
Michael Cole was Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Michael Cole goes home with the winner.
Michael Cole's Electra Lopez all of a sudden.
He is. All right, I think that's probably a good place to stop, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a good place to stop. We've gone a bit crazy now.
We've lost the plot a bit there.
Yeah, we have. So I hope those of you that have watched have enjoyed our first ever YouTube recording of the pod. This we'll do on a weekly basis, and there will be other YouTube stuff coming out. I've mentioned before, we've got loads of ideas of stuff to do. It's just a case of getting them done, and we've got big plans this year. We were talking about the other day. So watch this space for Recharge Wrestling. There will be more to come, and obviously, check it out. Download it, our podcast from anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Acast. Any of those, the link will be on our Twitter, which is at Recharge Wrestle. And we're also part of the Robot Republic Network, as is behind Fisher's Head, for those of you watching, which you can follow on Twitter at Robot Republic _. And I think that is it for this week. So we will go away. We're gonna charge ourselves up, and we will see you same time next week.
Goodbye.
Thanks. See you again.